Okay, this is a quick 7x7. I'm going to talk about how I embedded Google Maps into some LabVIEW UIs. System description, this was a system that is a mobile data collector, basically of a truck. It's got a GPS data coming in. It's got a bunch of equipment, metrology data, and some gas concentration, all being collected on a PC. And then as they drive around, they want to be able to, they log the data and they want to sort of be able to display that on a map. Obviously, I don't have that truck. So the nice thing about the module that I built, it was actually the actor. Alan is very proud. And so I'm able to basically pull that out of the main application and I can play back an existing session. They gave me a log file. I can pull stuff out of the log file and put it on the map. So I did that a lot for testing and debug. This is what they had originally. They were using a 3D map to basically plot where they were driving and the concentrations of the different gases, and it had some disadvantages. Basically, the auto scale of the values wasn't really telling them anything, and there was no real way to see where you were. And so their request came in when we were doing a bunch of changes. Wouldn't it be really cool if this was on Google Maps so we could actually see where we were? And they wanted a little bit more information about, good, medium, high, so that they can sort of get they basically wanted simpler user interface for that. So I was going to have a file, I was going to have a slide of all the things I tried that didn't work. There's not enough time for that, so I'm just going to talk about what did work. And basically what I'm doing is there's a Google API, and Azure has a similar one. You basically send a GET to it. You send it with some information, and it'll send back a static map with the points of interest overlaid on top of it. It's returned as a PNG. I can turn a PNG into a picture, and I can put it on the front panel. So essentially, it's pretty straightforward. The difficulty comes in building the string that you need to send. So this is broken out, just a quick thing. So they have an API. You tell it the size of the image that you want, the zoom level, the key. Usually you need a key in order to, you have to have an account, and it costs a little bit of money and that kind of stuff. The center, and then where you want your points marked and information like their size and their color. Some things that I did for the data set before I sent it off to Google was I was using the center point, the last data in the data set as a center point. And then based on that and the zoom and the image, basically anything that wasn't going to be on there anyway, I just filtered out straight away. So even if they've been driving for 5 miles and they were only looking in a half-a-mile region, I don't care about anything out of range. And then the other thing too is that we only have 400 by 400 pixels, so I went in there and I pulled out all the data that was basically going to be overlapping. Better or not. And then I also resampled if necessary, because the Azure map only lets you put 50 points on, and Google has 500 points. If you guys want details, it's there. Like I said, it does cost a little bit every time you do a query. So based on that, I only update it every 10 seconds. So let's see what it looks like. So we'll close that, and we'll come over here. So this was just a, oh, is it not showing? There? Oh, okay, okay. So up on the left-hand side is basically my map with my points overlaid on top of them. On the right-hand side, that's just my playback. So just to show you that it does work, if I tell it to resume, you can see that it is basically pulling data out of the file and putting them back on the graph. And it only updates every 10 seconds, but I can force it to update. Hopefully, yeah. And so you can see it moved a little bit. And then if I do things like I change the gas that I want to look at and tell it to recheck, it should have retry. Come on. Maybe it was the other way around. Maybe it was that one. Well, you can see the colors changed, so I can see that I am looking at another gas. I can zoom in, and this is like the true zoom and enhance, because these data points, it collects the data points at once a second, and so as I'm zooming in, you can see the data closer and closer, and it's pretty good. Zoom out, trying to think if there's anything else to say about this. This is the original map. I left that in place, so that's the whole thing. I left that in place in case they were out of cell range and they couldn't get the Google Maps. You do have the ability to change the colors on that. It's got a bug, I think, but bottom line, it works. Yeah, so I think that's all, unless people have questions about this. Oh, yeah, question.
So I played a little bit with Google Earth, and I thought it had some things kind of like that. Was the only real option, like you said, that you tried, was that one of the options that you tried and didn't go towards in terms of more of a desktop style app?
So actually, okay, I won't show it, but there is an add-on to this application. They do have they have a post-processing application that will actually overlay their stuff onto Google Earth. It comes down to bandwidth. They're working off cell, so that's the other reason why I went with the static map instead of like satellite or anything like that, just due to the size. And the last thing I'll say is that what I really wanted to do was I wanted to grab the map like every 10 seconds or 15 seconds and then overlay my dots sort of like in real time. The problem is that even though Google says, they're giving you the specific dimensions and stuff, if you take, darn it, now it's not here anymore.
30 seconds.
I'll just say that the image that they send back is not actually what it is. You can see that there's a little bit of a gap around the edge. That I've basically taken out that data, and
15.
it doesn't work, so I had to do it this way. I had to send the points to Google. That's the bottom line. Okay.